channel. So if you are new to my channel is support channel for all the caffeine quitters out there, and I'm giving a peer support here in my channel, everyone who are going through caffeine withdrawals and post-acute withdrawals. And I also share information about dangers of caffeine. So if you are new to my and all that is what my channel is all about. And then I also do other kind of videos where I study Bible, speak about Jesus, and all kind of other health related videos. But this presentation is about post-acute withdrawals, and I have done these presentations already. You can find some of those presentations in my channel, but it's always good to do more these videos, because the more I can reassure you that you are not alone and we do recover after this, it's just so important. And I also put link to my Discord group below this video where you can join if you want to have support. There is other caffeine quitters who are in this recovery journey, and I also do daily live support sessions there where you can join and talk about your symptoms, and there you can have that daily support. So let's start. And also you are always welcome to join in the chat if you have any questions about post-acute withdrawals or anything related this caffeine free journey. Caffeine is very, very underestimated drug, and this information is really important that this goes out there. So please share this video if you know anyone who could benefit from this kind of information. All right, so we're gonna dive deep. Hi, Risky. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so caffeine withdrawals and PAWS. PAWS comes the word post-acute withdrawal syndrome. So when we look at the PAWS, we are considering a long-term recovery process. PAWS can extend well beyond the initial withdrawal phase, sometimes lasting many months or years. This is because your brain and body are adjusting to the absence of the substance, and this adjustment period can be lengthy. And this is so important that people will know that they are not crazy. This is very normal. I help people around the world. Many people going through this. This is not something rare, and you are not alone. Very, very normal. Symptoms of PAWS might include persistent fatigue, anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, and cognitive difficulties like, for example, trouble of concentrating and making decisions. The duration and intensity of PAWS can depend on the several factors, including the duration and amount of the caffeine use, individual physiologic, and whether there are any co-occurring mental health issues. It's a bit like running a marathon. So just know, if you never did experience any of like this before, and then you did, for example, quit cold turkey, or for some other reason you did end up having this severe anxiety where your nervous system go that in reset mode, that everything's just have to start kind of rewiring back to normal, you are going through PAWS, and this is something that people are going through. And caffeine definitely is drug. It is poison and heavy drug, and it will do all these adaptations for many people while they are using that. And those adaptations are also mean that your body is trying to keep your body safe, because that's what it has to do. So it always tries to balance things out. So your body needs time to recover and rebuild its natural balance. This recovery process can be likened to healing after a major surgery. Think about a major surgery where you have a major wound, and you just have to you just have to let that wound to heal, and you don't want to take anything that disturbs that healing, meaning you don't want to take any medications, no any supplements, not anything that will disturb that healing. Because if you do that, that can just make symptoms more wild, and it can make recovery process more prolonged or harder. So that's why in my channel I don't recommend any kind of supplements, medications, any kind of stuff that could cause people more harm. And that always, like, just for me it makes sense. We don't need any of those stuff. We just need food and water, and we can function pretty well. So, but just know I'm not giving any kind of medical advices. I'm just giving a peer support. So your body knows what it has to do, going back to homeostasis. So during this post-acute withdrawal syndrome, PAWS, the body goes through quite a transformation as it adjusts to the absence of substances it had become accustomed to. So this period can be challenging. For many it is very challenging, like it was for me too, because the brain and body are essentially trying to find their new normal. Think about, like, if you have some old computer program and now you are updating that, the new one. This is a good example that I will use, that sometimes when I'm downloading something into my computer, then I have to ask help sometimes, and I did ask help from my ex-boyfriend, and how can I download this new program? And he did do something, and the program started to download, and then I was asking, yeah, but can I do same time this, that can I download some pictures or something? And he said, no, don't do that at the same time, because you have to let that computer do that program first, so it kind of doesn't affect that. So same thing, I know this is a little bit poor explanation, but the same thing about this journey when you have this wound, which is healing, which is all about PAWS, body going back to the balance, homeostasis. You don't want to disturb that process with anything, because the thing is that many people who are going through PAWS, they cannot stand any kind of extra stimulation or any kind of extra stress. So just keep that in mind, that you always just do your best, try to avoid extra stress, and just drink water, plenty of water, and eat what you can. I always say this is not about the diet. So if you are in your first 1 year, 2 year in the acute phase, that for many people, unfortunately many people, acute state just can last for a while, and it depends on the person how long. So just remember, it's not about exercising and diet. If somebody is just saying you that just go exercise and change your diet, they don't know anything about neurochemistry, they don't know anything about PAWS, and probably they haven't been years without any caffeine and any other substances. So just I wanted to make this clear. This is not something that there is quick fix. This is something that happens with time. So of course I always recommend eat healthy, find the diet that fits for you, but this is about time, and this is about what needs to be happen. And if you start to take something, and if you have a desensitized nervous system, which is really normal in this journey that people have sensitized nervous system, it just can affect you of so much more anxiety and symptoms, and then it can flare up the symptoms. So, but let's keep going, guys. So then we're gonna just break it down a little bit, these changes that you might experience during these PAWS. And the first is the neurotransmitter imbalance. This is something that I'm just love this information. I'm a little bit like a geek when it comes to that. I love this neuroscience and about the neurotransmitters, and I want to learn more, because I'm just also learning journey myself. So this is something that, thanks to God, I am able to now learn more. So your brain's neurotransmitter system, which were altered by the substance use, are trying to recalibrate. How amazing is that? That after that heavy drug use that caffeine was causing to us, we can recalibrate. And also want to say that not everyone have to be heavy users. You can only use 1 cup of a day, 1 cup of coffee a day, or some other source of caffeine, certain periods of time, and your brain and body will adapt. So this is one of the misleading information that people can think and mainstream are speaking about, that it's about amount. It's not about amount. I don't see that correlation when I help people. Some people have been heavy users like me. Over 30 years, I was using over 1,000 milligrams a day, but some people are not. Some people have been using very little caffeine, but still constantly from some periods of times. So then you can adapt. And it's still kind of unaware why some people do have PAWS and some don't. But definitely this is something that does happen a lot. So just know your body is and brain is recalibrating. So this can lead to mood swings, anxiety, depression, irritability. It's like your brain is trying to find its rhythm again. Think about, there is certain rhythm in everything in the body, like our heart. There is always certain rhythm. Pa-pam, pa-pam, pa-pam. It's certain rhythm. Those neurotransmitters, they have a certain balance when they are in balanced state. And you are now trying, your system is going to find that new rhythm, that natural rhythm again. And that it can take time for the things to settle down. And that can mean when the windows and waves will step in. So you have moments that you feel better. You can even feel that, oh, I'm feeling completely normal. And then the waves come again. And that's how the brain heals. It's very normal. The brain heals in windows and waves. Some people, it can feel like more like consistent, like they have just consistently more symptoms. But usually people, some point in this recovery, they start to have these windows when they just start to feel a little bit better, meaning that they start to have those moments that, symptoms are just so much more milder, or they disappear, and then brain continues to do that healing. And that's what is make this so challenging, because sometimes when we are in that good window, it can seem that, okay, I might start to do some new stuff, or some of us, we couldn't have work in this journey, no way. Some people can. So there is definitely different kind of levels when you do fall off the mountain and you end up this journey. So definitely different kind of levels. It depends on the person, how much and how intense they experience those anxiety symptoms. But definitely what is common, and this is so interesting that people comes different countries around the world and different backgrounds. Some people are very athletic, have been strong mans, and then when they falling off the mountain, they are like little babies. Because like the nervous system, when it goes to that reset mood, it kind of means that it has to start almost like all over again. Meaning that you have to start from the point that you cannot stand off any kind of stimulation, and it kind of rebuilds itself slowly with that. And that is what all that neuroadaptation is about. So just know it's all normal. And your neurotransmitters will settle down and find it new level, new homeostasis, new you. Then the energy levels. This is something that many people are experiencing in this journey. So you might know these fluctuations in your energy levels. So you can feel fatigue, very exhausted. For me, for first year, I was feeling like I had some kind of ADHD. Like I was like hyper, but same time I was feeling hyper, but same time I was feeling fatigued and exhausted. But for me, fatigue actually came a little bit longer in the journey. Like anhedonia and fatigue was something that it really hit me when I was like in my second year more. But first year for me was just more like the high adrenaline and cortisol, and I was just really agitated and like just weird in so many ways. And you can, if you are interested what symptoms I did go through, you can also find my symptoms in my video that I have made in my channel. But I will probably make another one, so because people are not always finding those. But very common, so all kind of exhaustment, and your body isn't getting that usual boost from the substances that it was like kind of used to. It doesn't get that anymore. So of course it's like, what is happening here? It's have to adapt. So over time, as your body heals, your energy levels should stabilize. But that one for many, it's a slow process. Before all that dopamine grows back and all the adenosine receptors will go back to its natural amount and the natural sensitivity. So there happens that upregulation and downregulation what comes to those receptors. Dopamine receptors have to downregulate and adenosine have to upregulate. Or not otherwise. No, dopamine have to upregulate, adenosine downregulate. Yeah. So, anyways, they have to all go back to balance. So then also the sleep disturbances. So, sleep can be particularly affected during this pause. So you might experience insomnia or hypersomnia, vivid dreams, and disturbed sleep patterns. That is really, really common. So this happens because your body's circadian rhythm are trying to reset without the influence of substances. So sleep, all kind of sleep issues, waking middle of the night, also all kind of nightmares, just waking up with panic, just not able to sleep, or your sleep is like you can go to the sleep but you wake up easily. That is really common in this pause journey. So then also number 5, cognitive difficulties. Concentration and memory might be impaired. And I want to check what comes to that downregulation and upregulation due to dopamine and adenosine just before we end this presentation, because I just don't want to that I did say something wrong. So we're gonna check that also. But okay, let's go through this. So cognitive difficulties definitely are really, really common in this. So many people say that they cannot read, they cannot concentrate, they can maybe listen. It's easier to listen to videos, for example, than read a book. Because if you are trying to read something, it can be that if you have that high anxiety and your brain is just trying to recalibrate itself, it can be like your brain just goes all over the place. Like you cannot just focus kind of what you are reading. That is very normal. And this is also due to brain ongoing recovery and need to re-establish the normal cognitive functions. Like think about it, it's like your brain is rewiring itself, and that one will take time, and you need to be patient. I know I was most impatient person in the earth. I'm still kind of a little bit impatient, but you definitely learn some patience in this journey. Okay, so physical symptoms, these can be so heavy. You can go like very quick person to feeling like 100-year-old person, like I went. Like I was always, before in my life, I was always first ready to go. I was never late to anything. I was always like di. Oh my goodness, when I did fall off the mountain, and I did fall off the mountain hard, I went bad. I just felt like my brain just was so fucked up. Nothing didn't work, and it affected so much to my physical body. You may experience increased sensitivity to pain, all kind of aches, pains, neck pains, back pains, headaches, migraines, joint pains, joint popping, all kind of popping and cracking and all kind of bodily symptoms. Or just general achiness, just like feeling very uncomfortable, like just very weird. And that can make people just paranoid itself, so just know it's normal. And this is also because the chemicals involved in pleasure and pain regulation are still finding their balance. So this is important to understand. So you don't have to run around doctors all the time. Even now, I know some of you will, but doctors probably, they say there's nothing wrong with you and they just try to give you anxiety pills. And that is not the answer to PAWS. It's not. Don't go in that route. So it's not uncommon to feel more physically sensitive during this time. It's very common. So And I know it can be scary because I was scared that my neck pain never goes away, and I was just so scared because I couldn't always even move my head, and sometimes it just felt like so I don't even it's the weird thing that when you speak with people who go through PAWS, they can seem, when you look them, that okay, they seem kind of normal, but they are not normal. Like in that sense, you don't feel normal. It's far away from normal when you go through this. It can feel like you're stuck in your own body and brain, and that can feel very scared. And I also wanna do a support video for all the loved ones who are supporting you maybe in this journey. Hopefully they are supporting you, because I know there can be hard to if you are, for example, living with your parents and your parents are not going through this, it's really hard to take them to understand what is happening to you if they don't have this information. So that's why it's also very important to educate our loved ones and family who are maybe there with us, hopefully. And then if you don't have anything, just know I'm here with you, and this is the work that I'm always doing and will do as long as I live. So you can always join my Discord group, so you don't have to go through this alone. So cravings and emotional regulation. This is also something that is really, really important to understand during the PAWS. So cravings for the substance, like you can have so much cravings because your dopamine levels are not, like your dopamine is not like working normally, meaning that those receptors are not taking the messages like they should, and everything is like repairing mood. So you can just feel like you crave something, junk food, whatever. You crave dopamine, but same time it can be that you cannot stand any kind of stimulation, which can I say that make this journey really hard. Like you crave everything, but same time you can't, like you cannot deal with. So just try to take it easy and just know it's part of the process. So this emotional regulation is very challenging for many, because your brain is still adjusting the absence of the substance and trying to manage stress and emotions without it. So just know all the emotional outbursts, crying, angriness, moodiness, raginess, not wanting to socialize, not able to socialize. It's not always not wanting, it's more like not able to socialize. And wanted to isolate, feeling like total autistic. I felt total autistic also, like total, like and that wasn't like fun. Like now when I'm introvert, I love to be just alone and do my own studies, but that wasn't like that in the recovery. That is actually something that your brain is doing. It feels like there is that neurochemical shitstorm going on in your body and brain. There is nothing that you can do about it, meaning that people sometimes ask that how can I know that this is not normal anxiety versus withdrawal anxiety? Well, in normal anxiety or depression, you are able to still use some kind of coping tools, going to walk or whatever, talking to a friend, and you can kind of move away from things to other, like you can like change where your brain will go. But in this you can't. Like it almost feels like you have a broken nervous system. It's not still broken, it's rewiring itself, but that's how it can feel when you don't have any control about things. And we love to have that control and that prefrontal cortex, this smart brain that we are normally able to go and we are able to plan and we are able to make decisions, even hard decisions. When life hits hard, we are able to do that. That's how we are built as a human being, thanks for God. But in the withdrawal journey, we are not able to go that smart brain. We do have windows when we may be able to do that. But most of the time, people who are going through these symptoms, and especially in the acute stages, it can be really hard to make any kind of decisions, like a rational decision. You can have a lot of problems to decision making. So just know that is very normal. So then stress response number 8, Eli. I always sometimes I speak Finnish and English. Sorry about that. No, Eli is so. So stress response. So your body stress response system or HPA axis might be dysregulated. It is dysregulated for many people. Now, and that's also, HPA axis is connected to dopamine also, which is really interesting information. So this can lead to increased anxiety and difficulty managing stress. So it's like your body is on high alert all the time, like, oh, well, why I feel this, is something's gonna get me. Like, this is so common when people call me, or Anni, I feel something's gonna get me, something bad is gonna happen to me, I might go to the doctor, I might go to the ER. Nothing bad is gonna not happen to you. Trust me, Anni knows. Yeah, even I'm not any kind of expert except of giving peer support, and I have been hearing so many stories. I know this will pass. So just know it's because your HPA axis is dysregulated, it's trying to find this balance, and now you are just in that fight or flight state. It's meaning that your body is just trying to protect itself. That's why some people, they cannot leave the house, or it's very difficult to go places, because your body is all the time like that high alertness, like what is going on. Even in your own house, you can feel like paranoid about things, and you can have that like really severe health anxiety, meaning, oh my god, did I eat something that there is caffeine in it, or oh my god, did I take something, oh my god, is my water okay? Like, this is something that now I can laugh about it, but when you go through it, I remember how hard it was. And I remember my ex-boyfriend, he always say that you are just so paranoid, like there is nothing like danger, but it is a danger kind of that, because your body is regulating itself, that's how you feel. That is like a real thing to us when we go through that and feel that, and that's why we need some understanding and empathy and reassurance and support, so we get through this, and you will get through this. So just know it's very normal. So 9, interpersonal challenges. This can be very much something that you might have or might not, but many people have this. So you might find yourself more irritable or impatient with others. I sure was so impatient with others. This is a normal part of the recovery process, as your body and mind are under the stress. So the major stress that body is going through during recovery is something that it's not your fault. It's not something that you can just, I'm just trying to be more kind or something. Just let yourself feel whatever comes and kind of ride with those waves. That is the best advice for this. Like, in that sense, what I did also get, that ride the waves, meaning that just let everything kind of happen and just ride with them. So yeah, and that can affect how you interact with those around you, and that's why we would need so much love and understanding those people who are our loved ones, which I understand for them too. This can be just confusing when this can take time. Like, if you have a wife or husband or mom or dad, and you go through this, like, you can explain to them that this is not me, like, this is something that happened to me, and my brain is going through this recovery and this rewiring, and that's why I might feel like very uncomfortable for a while, but I will go back to normal for sure. So then it is a temporary phase. Guys, you got this really good. Now keep it up. Like I say, answer is not go back to caffeine or taking anything. Answer is just focusing to tiny windows that comes. In the beginning, there can be that there are not so many, but they will come more and more, and you will got through this. So with time and support, your body and mind will continue to heal if you are experiencing PAWS. And if you didn't ever have this before, you did end up quitting caffeine and PAWS came, you can be sure this is PAWS. And this is what caffeine did. So, emotional regulation and the body's physical healing often come later in the recovery process. So this is what for me was really interesting, and I'm just fascinated also about this information that body can actually heal even these deeper traumas itself and all the emotions and whatever later in the recovery, because why it doesn't happen right away. Maybe you have glimpses of that, but it is because the brain and body needs time to recalibrate and heal from the effects of the substance use or trauma. Like, that is just something that first your body needs to do those most important processes. So when you stop using substance, your brain chemistry is out of balance, and it takes time for neurotransmitters to stabilize. That is how it is. This period of adjustment can lead to emotional dysregulation, like just where you might experience very much mood swings, anxiety, depression, as your brain tries to find this new normal. This is just like important to understand. So physically, your body has been under stress, and the stress response system or HPA axis can become dysregulated, like we did already learn. So this dysregulation can lead to symptoms like fatigue, sleep disturbances, and increased sensitivity to pain. So just know the pain is very common. So the body needs time to repair itself and restore balance, which is why physical healing can be a slower process. So physical body kind of comes a little bit behind in that sense, that even later in the journey where you might feel mentally better, more focused, more just motivated, you can still experience some of these physical kinks, what I mean about symptoms, that your body is still adjusting and repairing itself. So in recovery, this initial focus is often on stopping the substance use and managing acute withdrawal symptoms. Once those are under control, the body and the brain can begin the longer process of healing and rebuilding. This is why emotional regulation and physical healing might seem come later. So we also know that our emotions are connected kind of our physical body. So you can even later in the journey, you can feel all kind of like feelings in your body, some kind of pains and emotions coming out. This is normal part of the recovery. They require a stable foundation to build up on. And when your body feels more and more safe, then your body also, when it feels safe, it can also start to release more deeper emotions. Because when your body is not feeling safe, it's kind of just in that fight or flight state. It's just that is kind of the survival mode, and then the body cannot focus in those deeper emotional healing. But when your body will find that peace and that rest and digest move, then also just know that if you still feel something, it's normal. Even you would feel so much more like peaceful and motivated and all that. So time is what heals, along with the healthy food. Like I always said, it's not the diet or anything, but of course these are important things that we just know that are good for us. But rest and avoiding stress if you can, and of course avoiding taking anything, which are your allies on this journey. So remember, this recovery is not linear, meaning it's not like unfortunately it's not like going like steps, like I'm done with healing now. No, it's like pew, pow, pew. It's like ups and downs, and here we go, and waves and windows. And so that's how it is for many. That is very normal. That's the brain weird way how it heals, or the amazing way. So it can feel like an endless roller coaster, I know, but the roller coaster end. Nobody can be in the roller coaster forever. With time, all symptoms will go away. It does. And it's also crucial to avoid all forms of caffeine in any form. I always say no, any chocolate, nothing, not gonna go play. White chocolate also contains a small amount of caffeine. Don't play with anything. Don't start to play. Seen so many times how it ends. Like when you go off from this poison, don't start to take it in any form. Stay away from that when you are healing, because you have sensitized nervous system. It just will cause more mess. And of course, I don't recommend quitting cold turkey. Tapering is what I do recommend if you have been using caffeine for some amount of time. But if you did cold turkey already, and if you did end up having these symptoms, just know that you will heal. And some people might have quit cold turkey and they don't end up in this severe journey. But just it's always just important to say for me that when you go, it's best to go slow, so you don't have that shock. You don't shock your brain and system. So stay away from all substances, all mind-altering substances, including supplements, medications, vaccines, jabs. I don't know if I can even say this word, but this is something that I wouldn't recommend anybody to anyway. So jabs itself can cause a lot of harm. They are causing a lot of harm to people. As they might cause harm during the process or worsen symptoms, prolonging recovery. Please also remember that I do not provide medical advice. So if you have something that you wanna talk about with your doctor, then you talk about with doctor. I'm only giving a peer support, meaning this peer support where I have been going through this and I'm here to support you. And so if the situation becomes too desperate, like if you gonna feel so suicidal, for example, that you need to go somewhere, then you just of course have to get help. But just know, even I had like suicidal thoughts in this. That is very normal, having those thoughts. Even I knew that I wouldn't do anything, but the just intrusive thoughts in this journey can be just really heavy, really just all over the place. Just know that also is normal. If you have like really bad intrusive thoughts and fear and you are scared of everything, that is normal part of the brain rewiring. But it's always important to me to say this. So then you just reach out to emergency services if you have to. But just also know that those first 3 to 6 months are for many those really heavy times. So if you are in that acute state between 3 to 6 months, or some people even could say like 3 to 10 months or 1 to 10 months, can be still like something that can be really kind of acute. So don't worry about that. Best luck on your journey. That is a kind of something. You don't need any luck. You just need time, because you will recover in this. But yeah, like I'm always wishing you that keep it up. You got this, and I don't ever wanna like say anything like negative, because you go through this. And I hope that this presentation is helpful. And this source is the Dr. Donnelly Snipes, who is really amazing woman who makes a lot of support videos for all kind of addictions and speaks about neurotransmitters and speaks about addiction recovery. She knows about PAWS, so I will put some of her videos below this presentation where you can dive deep more in that world of the neurotransmitters if you are interested. But I think what we're gonna learn here, and we're gonna watch a little bit those dopamine and adenosine, like I said. I think the most important thing in this presentation is that you do recover, and you don't have to be scared of that something have happened to you where is no way out, because your body knows how to get out from that state, and those symptoms are healing symptoms. But now I did promise that I will just find here that one thing that I will show. Here, just wait a second. And you can, if you have anything to ask, you can ask now. Joo. I'm just so passionate about, so I just wanna find. There's some neuroscience here going on. I'm just wanna get everything explained. Good. So okay, so when you quit caffeine, your dopamine signaling, when caffeine is removed, it drops like really sharply. And since those dopamine receptors are still downregulated, the brain has this reduced sensitivity to dopamine for a while. So that's why you, of course, have this low mood, lack of motivation, fatigue. Sometimes you have like very bad depression and all that. These are all the typical caffeine withdrawal effects. And then, of course, the adenosine, let's check that. Let's see that. I will do more about these neurochemistry videos, more detailed in English. It's a little bit... English is not my strength. So we know that caffeine block adenosine receptors, like especially those A1 and A2A. So body is always trying to like compensate that. So the response that is like by increasing those, the number of adenosine receptors, so upregulation is happening, and then the sensitivity of those receptors. So they respond more strongly to adenosine. So after you quit, and if you quit suddenly, so there's too many of those adenosine receptors, and there is no caffeine which block them. So the result of that is that adenosine is floats in those receptors, and that for many people have that extreme fatigue and extreme brain fog and headaches, of course, because of that. The headaches is because due to that vasodilation from unblocked those A2A receptors. And that can just be long process before all those changes will go back to normal. So it doesn't, caffeine it doesn't directly bind dopamine receptor, but it changes dopamine signaling indirectly by blocking A2A adenosine receptors, which modulate dopamine activity. And then this chronic overstimulation of dopamine pathways lead to downregulate of dopamine receptors, especially those D2 receptors. And then the brain reduces sensitivity to dopamine over time, like to maintain the homeostasis. So without caffeine, that dopamine signal is just, it drops. But those dopamine receptors are downregulated. So the brain becomes temporarily kind of less responsive to dopamine, and that's how it goes. And anhedonia is very common also because that. And it can really take time before the dopamine receptor starts to function like normally, meaning that they get their sensitivity back and the amount of them are like normalized again. And I think this information is something that is not so much shared, which for me it's like, I think one of the most important thing to understand what comes to this adaptation of this drug. And I think this adenosine thing is one that separates caffeine from many other stimulants and many other drugs, because it blocks that. And that is something that many people doesn't get, how important this adenosine part is to understand what comes to caffeine and why it makes also the caffeine so different than other drugs. And it is a really, really heavy drug and causing a lot of illness and all kind of diseases. But yeah, I do hope that you did enjoy this presentation, and if there was something that I didn't mention or something that you are wondering or something that you didn't kind of understand, it's okay too. If you are in your withdrawals, it's normal that if you don't really understand anything, that's also part of the withdrawals, that feeling that brain lock or dumb, or sometimes the brain just doesn't work. But I'm just learning myself also, and that's why I do these videos for you. So just know all is well, all is good, and now I just wait a little bit time if somebody wants to ask something in the chat. Myöskin suomeksi saa kysyä, jos on jotain kysyttävää. Et mä nytten olen keskittynyt enemmän, kun kysyntää on tosi paljon englanniksi enemmän näille videoille, niin sitten nyt on keskittynyt enemmän tekemään tätä mun työtä englanniksi. Mutta ehkä tulevaisuudessa sitten, jos tulee kysyntää myös suomeksi näille videoille, niin jatkan sitten myös suomeksi videoiden tekemistä. Mutta tällä hetkellä on niin kiireistä, että mennään nytten englanniksi, kun ei ihan kaikkea kerkeä aina. But yeah, if not anything, I will see you in my Discord, and hopefully you did like this presentation. Okay, have a nice day, guys.